事，大家好。
Members, we have attained the quorum and now call the meeting to order. Item number 1, confirmation of the minutes of the last meeting. The minutes of the meeting held on December the 16th have been made available to members. The Secretariat has not received any proposed amendments. Can I take them as confirmed? All right, subject to your agreement, the minutes are confirmed. Item 2, the policy and proposed scope of free kindergarten education. Shall we invite the Education Bureau into the conference room? We have the papers made available. The first one is the policy and proposed scope of free KG education, and the second item is support for half-day, whole-day, and long whole-day KG education. We have the papers available. I'd like to welcome Education Bureau representatives. With us for today's meeting, Mr. Kevin Young, Under Secretary for Education, Mrs. Michelle Wong, Deputy Secretary for Education, Ms. Hera Ms. Hera Chum, Principal Assistant Secretary. Welcome. Under Secretary, on the 17th of this meeting, I attended the subcommittee meeting, listening to the views of the parents and the practitioners regarding their concerns. And I fully appreciate members of the public's concerns and their aspirations in this regard. They hope that while maintaining the quality of KG education, we have to provide certain subsidy. I have reported the views to the Committee on Kindergarten Education, and the views will be considered and explored by the Committee going forward. As regards to the 2 agenda items, we have made available the information. In terms of this kindergarten education, the scope of subsidy would be important. We hope that we will be able to provide the support so that they will be able to provide a quality KG education. KG education is privately run, and some are providing a high and standard education. It would be difficult for us to treat them across the board, and the services are welcomed by the parents. So the additional costs will have to be borne by the operators. So we have to consider how to deal with the KG fees. Now, we have to consider how we should support the whole day and long whole day kindergartens in addition to half-day education. We welcome members' questions. All right. Regarding the first paper, the policy and proposed scope of KG education, questions, please. Dr. Helena Wong, shall I propose 4 minutes? Madam Chair, if we are to implement free KG education, will the subsidy be subsumed under the purview of your bureau? There are some SEN students. The subsidies will start counting from primary education. I understand that there may be students that have special education needs, and they have to be identified ahead of time. And so with regard to the 15-year free education, has the kindergarten been incorporated into the integrated education portfolio? Under Secretary. Madam Chair, when the Committee on Free Kindergarten Education, we have to consider the mode of subsidy. The idea is to provide a quality KG education. We have to consider all the different elements that will be needed. And if the kindergartens can provide quality education, it would be really the way to go. Now, there may be students in half-day, whole day, and long whole day kindergartens where the students may have special needs, so we will consider them separately. At the committee, there is a special subgroup that looks at the students with special needs, like the non-Chinese-speaking students, and then we will consider how best we will provide the subsidy there. Dr. Wong. Madam Chair, I hope that the Bureau will start the study on this as soon as possible. The SEN students, the earlier you devote the resources to identify their needs, the better, whether we're talking about autism or any other special education needs. At the moment, this is not available at the kindergarten level. We have to count on the operators of the kindergarten themselves. And the operators are concerned that with the introduction of 15-year education, the integrated education will not cover kindergarten. I don't think it is simply a matter for the Education Bureau. I think you have to liaise with the Department of Health and the FHB as to how the manpower will be available to cover the KG education as well. Undersecretary. Madam Chair, I heard what members have to say, and this is exactly what we're doing. At the KG committee, we do have a subcommittee. Now, we do appreciate that the DH plays a significant role in this regard. For those who are identified as having special educational needs, the DH will play a role. And we have to look at the work undertaken by the other departments and see how we can enhance the services or how we can enhance the capability of the teachers. Mr. Ma Fung Kwok. Madam Chair, well, my question is quite similar to that raised by Dr. Helena Wong. At the last meeting, the administration said that there is a subcommittee under the Committee on Kindergarten Education to look at the special education needs. Now, this is not in the paper. The paper is silent on this. Now, does the Committee on KG Education have any preliminary suggestions? Now, the sooner you identify these people and provide the support, it will be far better than leaving it too late at the primary education level, because it would be more effective with early identification, because going forward the resources that you will need to follow up will be less, and it would be far more cost effective for the students. So this is how I look at it. Now, I'm no professional, but as a layman, and this is how I view the matter. The resources for integrated education should be devoted as soon as possible. You may need a whole lot more than you currently need, but I think the sooner you identify the problem, the better.
Now, as to who will take the lead, will it be the Education Bureau or the Department of Health? Perhaps you can look into that, or does the government have any views on that? So, to provide quality kindergarten education, does that include integrated education? Now, that will be a basis. As I said, students with SCN will also be considered by us as part of it. We agree that there should be early identification of SEN students. This is an important strategy for assisting them, that is, early identification. So we will work with the departments concerned, especially for young children. The Department of Health and the Social and Welfare Department are heavily involved for children at this age, so we will work together with them. Now, on the subcommittee on SEN students, now they will certainly provide explanation in the final report and on the way forward. Now, in that subcommittee, will there be members who already have a background in health and social welfare? Now, the early they participate, the better the outcome. Now, the Department of Health and the Social Welfare Department are both represented in that subcommittee, and perhaps the PAS. Now, on the working group on diversified educational needs within the Committee on Free Kindergarten Education, there are representatives from the Department of Health, Social Welfare Department, the kindergarten sector, and other NGOs concerned. Now, the two members have expressed their views. Now, this is part of the foundation work, and the Undersecretary said that we will build on that foundation. Now, if you look after these children at this level, at the early stage, people will be more assured. The Vice Chairman, now there are two issues. The scope of free kindergarten education, that's the first topic. Now, if free kindergarten education, the scope of that will include the part that is financially assisted by government and the part that is not. Now, the whole day education, that is not within the scope, and private and independent kindergartens, whether that will be covered, there's a question mark on that. Now, concerning rentals, that will not be covered, and we will discuss that next time. And on whole day kindergartens, we will touch on that later. Now, an important concept is that what will constitute the scope of government financial funding, and it doesn't cover the higher rentals, the whole day kindergarten. So when the government proposes a free kindergarten education, what is its concept of quality kindergartens? Is there a vision on what you propose to achieve? Now, there is no clear, direct description here. I think as we start our discussion, such a vision would be very helpful. Yes, what is quality education? Madam Chair, now this document seeks to explain very clearly what the committee is doing as it considers free kindergarten education. There are 5 working groups. One of them will be on the objectives of the kindergartens, the mission and vision, etc. And of course, there will be a clear explanation in the report. And in this document, we try to explain that when we try to provide free kindergarten education, we must have a clear idea of what we are providing. Now, it's very diversified. Every kindergarten has its own unique characteristics. It's not standardized. So when we try to provide funding or provide free education, kindergarten education, we must be clear on what kind of education we are trying to cover. Now, actually, I think our quality of kindergarten education is already very high. So we are discussing with the profession. We try to identify elements like student-to-teacher ratio, the support for operating a kindergarten, the relevant elements. So we try to identify those elements for quality education. It's difficult so I don't really like to use the term standards. Now, so we are trying to provide funding by the government for these needs, and then we will build on that and provide additional funding for SEN and so on. Mr. Wong Kok Heng, I have a question for the administration concerning the staff, especially the teachers. Now, will the master pay scale apply to them in some form? Now, the delegations have, the deputations have expressed their concerns about this. Now, after the education voucher scheme has been introduced, this issue has disappeared off the horizon, and so I like to pursue this. And other deputations have been concerned about the lump sum grant proposal. It echoes the objectives raised in the social welfare sector. They fear that the lump sum grant will not provide safeguards for the salaries or remuneration of the kindergarten teachers. So will those issues be within the scope of this study? Both issues will be. When we listened to the deputations last time, these two concerns have been clearly expressed. That is, there should be a pay scale, and also there is concern about the lump sum grant system in the social welfare sector. Now, as I understand it, the committee hasn't reached a decision on these two issues. On the issue of remuneration, they have engaged a consultant to do a study for them. Now, of course, we have to await the consultant's report before we know how they will deal with teachers' remuneration. On lump sum grant, they are aware of the concern. They have concerned different funding proposals, including lump sum grant. And some members of that committee proposed the approach as that for primary schools. They are concerned what will be the impact on the profession, and the consultant will offer some suggestions to the government. Now, so there's no conclusion yet, but there's ongoing discussion. Now, the Undersecretary has confirmed that these issues will be covered, and at the next meeting, we will deal with the professional training and salary framework for the teachers. So I'm glad that the government has responded in the positive, and I look forward to the outcome of the study. Next, Ms. Virginia Yip. Several questions, Madam Chair. Now, firstly, the government policy is to provide funding only for half-day kindergarten. Now, I checked and found that I only attended a half-day kindergarten when I was young, and these prestige kindergartens are still offering half-day program only, and I found from my kindergarten school reports that the topics taught include keeping hygiene and singing songs and so on. So I don't know what you will be targeting. Now, on say narrowing the rich-poor gap and so on, I think you really need provide support to the long whole day kindergartens. Because in many cases both parents work and they do need child care support. If the Education Bureau doesn't provide the funding, the government should find the money somewhere else. And the government is proposing to have a Chinese as secondary language scheme to assist the minorities. Now, these ethnic minorities need to start education in Chinese at an early age. Now, what will be your proposals? Thirdly, now they used to have a pay scale. What do you for kindergarten teachers? What will you do about it now? Now, on funding for half-day and whole-day kindergartens, now, as I replied to the Vice Chairman, now we are looking at the current situation in half-day, whole-day, and long whole-day kindergartens right now. And within the half-day kindergartens, there are already a lot of things that can furnish quality kindergarten education. So that's the basis, and so that's our principal target. And at the next stage, we will try to find ways to assist the whole day and long whole day kindergartens. Now, the issue is how can we provide incentive to the operators to provide more long whole day places? And secondly, the criteria for public funding to long whole day institutions. Now, on Chinese as second language scheme, now the working group on SCN students will also look at the issue of non-Chinese speaking students. Now, in kindergartens, however, they won't have a set curriculum as in primary and secondary schools. Now, so we will, of course, do more in the teaching medium and so on, and we'll the PS.
But before launching the voucher scheme, we consider a pay scale but it would be very rigid. It would put the kindergartens into a straitjacket. So we stop using this pay scale. We encourage the KGs to remunerate the teachers in accordance with their performance and experience. The sector did raise some concerns. As a matter of fact, the consultant would look at this as part of their brief. They would see whether there should be any rigid pay scale, or whether there would be better way going forward. Now the thing is, the pay structure would or should ensure sustained career development of the teachers. We're still awaiting the consultant's report. And let me put a question next. Paragraph 7 of the paper refers to quality KG education. Now, this is a common objective. Of course, it would be hard to have a unified and uniform view regarding quality education. Now, the thing is, we have to respect diversity, and we should continue to offer above standard services, which some parents welcome. I'm sure that the parents, particularly those from the grassroots, would prefer KGs that are free, because we're talking about free kindergarten education. I also appreciate that the KGs should be given diversity. At the end of the day, you may devote the resources, and the KGs are keen to lure the parents, and they may be having a lot of innovative ideas like language learning and art and craft and so on, and these would incur quite a lot of extra tuition fees. And how to address the aspirations and expectations of the parents? Under Secretary. Madam Chair, the expectations of the parents would be rather difficult to deal with. We can see that there are some children, some of them, not all of them, the parents would make them take part in quite a lot of activities. So in the paper we said that the committee feels that we should enhance the governance of the kindergartens, and also would consider their application for a rise in the tuition fees. Now, we offer them the subsidy, but if they want to increase the tuition fees, we need some professional assessment of these applications. It would be difficult for me to say precisely what the situation is going to be like, because we have to await the consultant report before we have some ideas on what should be included, and we would have a clearer picture by then. I hope that the Education Bureau would learn from previous experience. There are some parents who would be thinking in terms of secondary and primary schools, and they would say that like primary and secondary, the majority of the KG should be free. If you do not implement the DSS model, I'm sure that the KGs will be charging tuition fees. Now, you may want to lower the teacher-student ratio, and the KGs may offer language courses and music and art and so on. A lot of middle-class parents would prefer that, but many grassroots parents would like to see kindergartens that are free for them to choose. I hope that you would confirm that this would be considered in your study. Under Secretary, Yes, indeed, this is one of the things that we will consider. A couple more for the first round. Mr. Tommy Chung. Madam Chair, I was having a meeting next door on food items, so I'm not sure where you are. Now, I heard from what you said. I'd like to say something here. That the Liberal Party has always been of the view that kindergartens will become all free. Now, when we cast our mind back to the days when you were not born yet, we had a lot of schools becoming subvented schools, and parents didn't have to pay anything at all. And some said that the standard was in decline. I wasn't here, so I don't know. I don't think we should repeat the same problem by making them all free. Now, you may say that the parents are deprived of a choice. No, this is not true. They have so much by way of choice. Now, there are some that should not be operating kindergartens, but because of the free subvention, they will continue, and they will get the subvention whether they operate them or not, because they will get the guarantee of students. So I am against the idea of offering all-round free KG education and also free whole-day KG education, because the parents may be working, and they should not be relying on the government for free KG education. I'm also concerned about the pay scale, as the Undersecretary alluded to. Now, whether the teachers are putting in the good performance, and they will get paid the same because of the pay scale. This is also something concerning. And by offering them the subsidy, and you are really regulating everything, why doesn't the government take over all the kindergartens? There are non-profit-making kindergartens, and you're offering the voucher scheme, and there are so many problems right now. 3 minutes or 4 minutes. Well, he doesn't have to answer my question. Going forward, the members of the public would find this music to their ears. Now, many political parties are talking about 15-year free education. In our primary and secondary schools, everything is in a mess, and parents are sending or packing their kids overseas for education, despite the enormous costs. That's because lots of the subsidized schools are really declining in their standards. Undersecretary, you have to look at it carefully. The Liberal Party feels that you should enhance the voucher scheme so that parents can exercise their choice. Now, I have this $2 transport concession card. Now, these transport operators are making a lot of money, and you are subsidizing them despite the profit that they're making. I think this is really incorrect. All right, you heard Mr. Tommy Jones' point. Indeed, a lot of parents would like to have free KG education, but still others who want to have diversity. Undersecretary, Madam Chair, if I may take a bit of time. Thank you very much, Mr. Chung, for the comments. Now, I think he has voiced the concerns that we heard from the community. So in our consideration, we are talking about diversity in the KG landscape. because KG education is not compulsory. It is optional. It is something that the parents can choose, although most of the kids are undergoing KG education. As to the ultimate mode of subsidy, diversity would be the key consideration. Dr. Kenneth Chen. Thank you, Madam Chair. And let me focus on the two papers. Some papers discussed the items as if they are talking about the two items together, and they want to enhance certain things, and they make the points on the two papers, and they walk out of the meeting. And I think it is a waste of time, or the officials' time. I think we have to clarify certain philosophical issues. There are some suggestions that if the government implements the free kindergarten education, then the entire education sector would be like a stagnant pool of water. Everything will be very formulaic. The structure, the way education is undertaken would be formulaic without any diversity. I think this is it would be misleading to make this kind of argument. I benefited from the free primary and secondary education. I mean, my school wasn't exactly the same as the ones down the street in terms of the reputation, the teachers, and the way the curriculum was taught. Now you have the same model of subvention, but still we had a wide variety of schools in the market. I don't think members should be warning the administration that by implementing free kindergarten education, the diversity will be out of the window. You may have your own ideas, but I don't think you should be misleading the members of the public. This doesn't help with our discussion. Second, now, if we implement the free education on the basis of primary and secondary school, I don't think we are eliminating the market at all. As pointed out in the paper, we have DSS schools, we have subvented schools and international schools, and we have all these different modes that will continue to exist, and the government will look at the demands and aspirations of the parents and keep the current situation going. I don't think we should be worried that by implementing 15-year free education, a lot of the kindergartens would be meeting their demise. I talked with the Undersecretary. There are some who are against subsidy, and we're not making them go. And we're talking about 15-year free education. We are not trying to make all these stakeholders disappear from the market. And you're nodding. I think you get where I'm coming from. So I feel that in the paper, that I'm offering my comment here, Madam Chair, I hope that the administration would not say that while implementing a 15-year free education, it wouldn't mean that a lot of the popular schools or KGs will disappear. It's got nothing to do with that.
Now, the document also talked about innovative mode of funding. Now, I know that is being discussed in the committee. I don't ask for an answer right now, but I hope that before too long you would tell us about this innovative mode of funding. Now, if you say you subsidize only the half-day kindergartens, then that is not genuine innovation. The Undersecretary, simple response. Now, if we work in the mode of primary and secondary schools, now there is diversity, but it's different from what we have now. Now, when we subvent the primary and secondary schools, there are differences from the DSS and private schools. So there are differences, but the differences would be less than they are what they are now. So we will consider this factor when we provide full funding. We also consider the allocation of places, have to pack the classes before we add new classes. So the teachers may be displaced when there is a drop in enrollment and so on. So these are things that have to be considered. Now, of course, the member said that he hopes there can be more innovation. Now, there are ways mentioned in Para 8, each with advantages and disadvantages. So we try to enhance the advantages and to remove the disadvantages. So the first document is mainly about the scope of the free kindergarten education. So I hope we can stick to the timetable. We can finish on this issue by 5:30. So the remaining time will be allocated to members who have not spoken. Anyone who hasn't spoken on the scope? The two papers are quite thin in content, so I think it's difficult to avoid touching upon both issues. Well, in the second round, there are myself and the Vice Chairman, so I propose 3 minutes, Vice Chairman. Just now, the Under-Secretary mentioned that he doesn't like to use the term standard, and yet he said that the half-day kindergartens will be the basis for consideration. Now, this seems a little bit clumsy. Now, the concept may not be clear. Now, what is diversity? Now, Para 6 talks about diversity, and then diversity becomes the mode of funding. That's diversity, and then there's teaching diversity. Now, if we adopt a certain basis, then the other modes of kindergarten education will not be in parallel, but be the next rungs of the ladder. Now, so people ask me, how will you operate the whole-day kindergartens in the future if you use the half-day kindergartens as the basis? Now, when we talk about the mode of funding, Paras 8 or 9, says that if we use this mode of funding, then you will have class packing and so on. So it would be the mode for the current subvented primary and secondary schools. Now, on remuneration and the class size and allocation of places, are they all tied together? How does that arise? We must be clear on that. Otherwise, the pay scale for teachers will not have a clear basis. And then the paragraph says that there will be an innovative mode of funding. Now, whether there's innovation, that's not most important. The important thing is that there must be social fairness. And secondly, you must raise the educational quality. Now, if you achieve these two objectives, then that would be a viable mode. And it's not innovation per se. Finally, on Mrs. Regina Yip's criticism, I think it's correct. She's correct. These two papers are quite thin in content. It's the product of discussion of over 1 year. I think the content should be richer. The Undersecretary, to respond to the Vice Chairman's last point first. Now, I think this is not very fair to the committee. The committee is now collating putting together the final report. Now, of course, before there is consensus reached at the committee, there's not too much that they can say. They cannot just repeat all that has been discussed. It's just like when we heard the deputations from different sectors last time. I hope you can tell us what is the practice in different countries that you have been to. Now, this document doesn't show the findings. Now, in para 8A, we talked about the mode of the aided schools. Now, some people in the committee asked us to adopt this mode, so we say that if we adopt this mode, we will face certain issues. And on the Vice Chairman's point that whether there is a necessary link, now I think there can be innovative thinking. I think the ideas will emerge from the consultant's report. Now, on the Vice Chairman's point, now we are looking at the ecology within the kindergartens. What can be achieved for quality kindergarten education? We do not put stringent requirements once we have the half-day subvention. We allow them to make changes or to adopt practices that differentiate themselves. Now, half-day mode is 3.5 hours. A lot of things can happen within that time. Now, we have half-day KG as the basis, and then we go ahead and think how we can provide support to whole day and long whole day KGs and the sponsoring bodies concerned, so that they can provide more of these places, and we also consider how we can help the parents. I myself in the second round. Now I agree with Mrs. Regina Yip and others. Our basis should be quality and diversified KG education. Now, would it necessarily be half-day? Well, we think that diversified and quality KG education doesn't necessarily have to be on the basis of half-day mode. Now, there are a lot of non-half-day KGs that are of very high quality. Now, you haven't come to a final decision yet, so please consider that the profession and the community do have this concern, and especially for the families with two working parents. And also in para 8 now talked about the long whole day education, long whole day schools. Now Now, right now, kindergarten KG education is not compulsory, and when we have 15-year free education in the future, and if some parents cannot find places for their children, will you be handling this matter? Will this be a concern of yours in the allocation system? Now, the allocation of places, that is certainly something being considered by the committee, how this can be improved. Now, on current KG places, because right now we have diversity. Now, in the private, because these kindergartens right now are private, so the KGs can react and adjust quickly to changes in demand and increase or decrease the places accordingly. So we try to preserve this ecology. If we impose rigid requirements, then they will find it difficult to adjust in the number of places. So this is one factor that we are considering. We agree with the chairperson that we seek to have quality, diversified KG education. Now, I think it's only a matter of wording, perhaps, when we try to differentiate between half-day and whole-day mode of subvention. Now, we have in our mind what would be quality half-day KG education, and then we build on that. Now, we looked at Australia, UK, Korea, Singapore. They all provide funding on the half-day basis. Now, so please take this matter to the committee. Deputy Secretary. Thank you, Chairman. Now, it's not blank sheet of paper for our kindergartens. Now, when we look at the school places and the enrollment, now for primary schools, people go to the schools nearest to them, but for KGs, say Kowloon City or similarly Wan Chai. In Kowloon City, there are 9,000 students of the KG age, but there are of the age, but there are 20 to 30,000 places. And similarly for Wan Chai, the parents have different needs, so they maybe find a school that's nearest to where they work. So we try to match the population with the number of and we try to match the number of school places with that. But it's only in certain districts, like in North District, where parents cannot find places. It rarely happens in other districts. Now, as the Undersecretary said, the kindergartens work in a very flexible manner, and the parents are also very sometimes they have to make very unusual choices. Now, and we can allocate places for primary and secondary schools because we provide free school premises and we have stringent planning requirements. But for kindergartens, that's quite different. The kindergartens mainly work according to supply and demand by the parents in different districts. So we will have allocation of places like in primary schools and secondary schools, or will it be as reported in the newspaper today, the parents can register for kindergartens, and that might be more close to the development needs of the sector.
I'm not suggesting that we should have a global allocation system, but I've received some complaints that some parents find it difficult to find KG places, and they may be running around and approaching 5 or 6 KGs and still cannot get any places. And I hope that you would bring these to the Committee on KG Education for further consideration. Vice Chair. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Madam Chair mentioned the allocation. If I may refer to para 9 of the paper, I do have some doubts there. It says that the operation of KG in commercial premises will render the planning of school places in a holistic manner neither practicable nor feasible. Whether we should have an allocation system is subject to further discussion, but planning is important because it has to do with the supply and demand. Madam Chair talked about some parents, not necessarily in the North District, but elsewhere, are finding it difficult to find KG places. Now, the birth rate in Hong Kong has been rising. Now, locally, if the government doesn't have any planning here, and if they are relying really on the flexibility of the KG operators, then the situation of parents not being able to find places would be worsening. Kowloon Tong is particularly popular for some reason. Many parents other than Kowloon Tong would like to place the kids in the location where they reside. There are some parents, for some reason, would not do so. And if they want to find KG places in the district where they reside, then the government has the obligation to make them available in whatever ways you try. I think the government has a role there in terms of planning. So I do have doubts regarding this statement in the last sentence. Undersecretary, yes, we understand the planning in this regard. Let me try to elaborate. If the Vice Chair looks at the above paragraphs, that this is opposed to the KGs on government land and so on. It would be difficult for KGs to have the same planning as we have for primary and secondary schools. But we'll do planning in accordance with the population. Members should appreciate that there is a short gap between birth and the admission to kindergarten education, and the movement of the population can be very rapid. It would be a little bit difficult in this regard. I think what the Vice Chair is worth pondering. The government ought to have a role there after the implementation of the 15-year free education. If they cannot find any places in 5, 6, or 7 kindergartens, it would be very difficult for them. Undersecretary. Yes, indeed. When we do the planning, we would require certain housing developments to make available space for KG education. Yes, indeed, this is something of concern to a lot of us. All right, shall we draw this to a close and move on to the next paper? Support for half-day, whole-day, and long whole-day kindergartens. Undersecretary. Madam Chair, I've already explained the situation in my opening remarks. We do make available the information in the paper. I'd like to highlight certain points. In the community, we have whole day, half day, and long whole day kindergartens. About 1/3 or 30% of the children are attending whole day and long whole day kindergartens, and this is a not insignificant proportion. We have looked at the whole day and long whole day KGs, and their standards are pretty high indeed. Third, in the community out there, there are some families that really need whole day kindergartens. So from the Education Bureau's point of view, the three types of KGs do have their role in the community, and they should continue. Now, with regard to half-day KGs, I said many times, and I repeat, that when we consider subsidy, we look at half-day KG as the basis. Now, half-day kindergarten education would be enough for the students from an educational point of view. It's just that when we consider the family needs, some do need whole day or long whole day kindergarten education. So we will consider this in the consideration. We have 3 or 4, 5, 4 minutes. Vice Chair, please. Beg your pardon, Madam Chair. I'd like to pick up on what I left off. In this paper, the administration said that they attach importance to diversity, but at the end of the day, they would use half-day kindergarten as the basis when considering the subsidy. So effectively, they have nullified this idea of diversity. Let's say we can have Chinese cuisine, Western cuisine, or Japanese cuisine for a meal, but you would take the Western cuisine as the basis. Now, what diversity are you talking about? I mean, you have really defeated what you said when you talked about diversity. With diversity, you should point out in the paper what all these different modes would have their own characteristics and how they should be treated in their own rights, and what different functions are they performing. Now, the first two pages are in connection with the current situation, and when you talk about the committee's initial views, you stop short of talking about the different roles of the different types of kindergarten education, and you jump to the conclusion that you would use half-day KG as the basis. And there is less than a page regarding your initial views. Now, we have half-day, whole day, and long whole day. What sort of contributions are they respectively making? They are making up the diversity that we have. I think we have to have a positive analysis of the different types of kindergarten. If we agree that we have diversity and different types have their unique contributions, then your subsidy should cover them all, so that the three types of KGs would be able to develop in a healthy manner. Now here, the whole day and long whole day KGs are finding it very difficult to survive. If we do not deal with all these concepts, it would be difficult for us to talk about anything else. Under Secretary, Madam Chair, I think we do have a little bit of difference in our starting points. When we consider the free KG education, we have to consider the practicability. The KG landscape is so diverse. We do not pass any judgment as to what types of kindergartens are better than the others. The half-day, whole-day, and long whole-day kindergartens are doing their job. They're just operating just as well. We cannot say that the government will underwrite everything, whatever mode they are operating in. So when we deal with the issue, we have to look at the existing landscape, and we have to identify a model for subsidy. I'm not saying that you should use whatever model. Let me just finish, Madam Chair. You just interrupted me. I have to reorganize my thought. In our operation, we feel that for half-day kindergarten education, in principle, it would be enough for a child. I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that whole day and long whole day kindergartens are not doing a good job. They do have certain education elements that would be of help to the children. But as far as we are concerned, the half day would be enough to start with. So we would consider how we should help the whole day and long whole day kindergartens as well. Mr. Marfong Kwok, next, please. Thank you, Madam Chair. The Undersecretary made the point that he did. I don't think I can follow your logic. Education that you talked about, the kindergarten education, other than the component of education, you have many other social elements like child development, and also the release of the manpower into the community. This is the other consideration with whole day and long whole day KG education. Some families do have such a need. You're not subsidizing up to a certain level. I mean, it would be easier if you have a model like money follows the users. Now, how can you offer appropriate assistance to them? Some parents may have a higher, may not opt for whole day or long whole day kindergartens because they have a higher demand. They have genuine needs. Will the government consider these not purely from the education point of view? Now, you said that from an education point of view, half day at kindergarten would be enough. I'm not going to debate you on this, but what about the other needs on the part of the families in Hong Kong? Would there be any policies that would support those needy families? Undersecretary. Madam Chair, now we are considering this beyond the pure education needs. There are needs on the part of some families. They do need a whole day or long whole day KG education. So we have to consider some ways to incentivize the operators to provide more whole day or long whole day places. Last time I heard the stakeholders who came here to express their views. They said that if we merely offer half-day kindergarten subsidy, there is no incentive for them to offer whole day or long whole day KG education. We like to carry on with the whole day and long whole day KG education. So this is something we have to consider. Now, there are some parents who have to shell out the money. There are some parents who would say that for whole day or long whole day, KGs would be unaffordable to them. So the affordability of the parents will have to be considered, and what sort of subsidy should we offer them while maintaining their affordability?
No, I don't know whether I have answered Mr. Ma's question. Any follow-up, Mr. Ma? No, actually, the answer is not really enough to resolve my doubts. Now, Now, you think that from the educational perspective, half-day KG is enough. But for some families, the educational need is one thing, but they need something more. That's why I said that we need to provide incentives so that the operators can provide more places for whole day and half-day, long whole day service. Now, the funding is one way to provide incentive. The Deputy Secretary. Now, I think we need to discuss this perspective. Now, talking about educational concepts, half-day KG is suitable for KG pupils. Now, our neighboring countries all use half-day KG as the basis. Now, children need to be educated in a group, but for the current age, as young children, they need to have more time with their family members so that they feel more secure. Now this is a perspective in education. Now, so I think it's half-day basis, which is already quite adequate, but there are studies showing that for some students, now if the family support is weak, then if in that case it's good for them to spend longer hours within the school. So we think that whole day and long whole day KG is effective for certain students and families. So we try to work on this, providing more places and making it more affordable for these parents to send the children to whole day and long whole day KGs. Now, half-day KG education is adequate, but there are family and social needs for that warrant special policy arrangements for whole day and long whole day KGs. Next, Dr. Fernando Cheung. Now, of course, one can argue at length about educational concepts. You say half-day KG is adequate. Well, you might be correct, and other people might also have a point when they say we need a whole day or 3/4 of a day. Now, this is about policy, so we won't go into the academic part of it. Now, on policy, you agree that these three modes of KG all deserve to continue to exist. Now, if we talk about 15-year free education, all three modes of KG should continue to function. And when there are certain needs that are emerging in society, then some of these modes should not merely continue to exist, but should be expanded to meet the rising needs. Now, for whole day and long whole day KGs, you say we will set them aside for the time being and use half-day KG as the basis. But this kind of thinking, now, will it be a blow on the whole day and long whole day KGs? Now, they already have a difficult time under the educational voucher scheme. Now, if you look at the number of days of operation of long whole day KGs, they operate more for longer hours. They are 80 hours in a year than compared with the half day and whole day KGs. Now, that is real work involved. Now, so let's not merely argue about the educational concepts. Now, if you use half-day KGs as the basis, then on that basis, how can the whole-day and long-whole-day KGs improve their plight compared with the current educational voucher regime? Now, they have inadequate resources, they have a high turnover in their manpower, so that affects the quality of their service. So you agree that they deserve to continue to exist. Now, given our population policy and the objective to improve the livelihood of these families, now, and if we can find ways to increase the income of the families by letting mothers go to work, then the society is concerned about how you can take care of their needs. The Undersecretary? Now, as far as I know, the committee is considering providing more assistance or more incentive to the whole-day and long-whole-day KGs than for half-day KGs. But in what form, in what ways, that has to be answered yet by the committee. Now, the committee is not considering providing only half-day level of aid. The whole-day and long-whole-day KGs will get higher level of aid. So you will consider the actual need. Now, in the educational voucher scheme, you use the half-day KGs as a basis. The whole-day and long-whole-day KGs get a bit more, but it's not enough in terms of proportion. So can you tell us as soon as possible what will be your future formulas? As I said, we will provide incentives so that the operators can provide more whole-day and long-whole-day places. I put it this way to assure them, because they need incentives before they will go ahead. Next, Dr. Kenneth Chen. Now, we have gone over this issue many times. Half-day, whole-day, long-whole-day. There have been some basic figures in the government paper. I believe they should be accurate. Now, there are over 90,000 students in half-day, 44,000 in whole-day, and 21,000 for long-whole-day KGs. Now, so this is a snapshot of the current situation. Now, the government doesn't seem too worried. When we talk about full funding, whether now will the situation change? Will there be increase in funding for the whole-day or long-whole-day KGs? They might catch up or even surpass in the aid that they receive compared to the half-day KGs. Now, for half-day KGs, it's for 3.5 hours only. Then government says what the students do in the remaining hours is not the government's concern. Now, if you do your calculus that way, then we have a problem that we are concerned about. Now, so you are saying you will give only 30 cents out of a dollar to meet the needs of these operators. So the ultimate question is, do we treat whole-day and long-whole-day KGs as part of our educational framework? So I hope the answer is yes. I hope the government can consider that given the current situation or environment in Hong Kong, these whole day and long whole day KGs should be part of our kindergarten sector. Now, we don't want to see the current problem persisting. That is, one educational voucher covers all cases. Now, or you might provide some kind of financial assistance as a kind of social welfare, but that wouldn't be part of the education system. So I'm afraid that we might keep arguing and debating, and there won't be really a solution. And the debate concerning the voucher scheme will persist into the debate on 15-year free education. So I hope the committee and the Bureau can give this further thought. So perhaps we should make an adjustment in the balance between education and care. Now, you said you would consider an innovative mode of funding. Perhaps you should also think innovatively on how to expand the concept of early childhood education, so that you come up with a good quality and diversity, and your funding would provide for that. The Undersecretary? Now, actually, a lot of past debate, as Dr. Chen said, is about such issues. Now, our current thinking is that we don't say half of it is care, half of it is education. We say that it's all part of the KG educational service. In concept, we think that half-day KG is enough for the child. We don't want to provide policies or incentives so that the mothers send the children to the whole day KGs, even though they don't have to work, and they in fact stay at home for. So when we try to find ways to help the whole day and long whole day KGs, we try to come up with a way to target the assistance to families with genuine needs. And we don't want all the parents to send their children to whole day KGs just because it's available. Now, because I think in many cases, the children might be better off if they spend half a day at home. So I think we will certainly provide more resources to the whole day and long whole day KGs, and at the same time we will do it in such a way to avoid the incentive being provided for parents without the need to put their children there.
Mr. Raymond Chen, let me use an analogy that the secretary is effectively saying that half a bowl of rice that would fill you up, but some would need a whole bowl of rice and they may need more than one. But if they allow them to eat all they can, then those who would normally eat half a bowl would be tempted to eat more than half a bowl. Now, half a day would be enough, and whole day, long whole day will also be needed, but not a must. if we don't immediately look at education, then we need to ask not just the Undersecretary, we have also to ask the other departments. For whole day KG or long whole day, we may need to go beyond the Undersecretary. We may need to approach editing and so on. Now, do we have to take it beyond this bureau and go to other bureaus as well? The government seems to be contradictory. Now, you're saying that half a day would be enough. If it is more than half a day, it may not be good for the kids. Now, you're saying that half a day would be the best because the parents would have more time to spend with the children. Now, the government is saying that in terms of population policy, we should release more women manpower, and women can be more independent. But the thing is, if they lose more in KG fees than they earn from the work, then it is not worth it. And this doesn't help with the population policy. So did you or would you be communicating with the LWB? Don't you see the contradiction there in your arguments? Undersecretary, Madam Chair, in terms of social policies, when we have different demands, they may seem to have some contradiction. At the end of the day, whether the women would choose to join the workforce, they have their own considerations. Now, if they have a kid, they have to consider the trade-offs between working and stay at home and looking after the kids. Now, if they choose to join the workforce, then we would provide them the service for them to join the workforce. That's why we agree that there are some families that need whole day or long whole day KG education. But if you're merely looking at the developmental point of view of the children, then the situation varies. But for most children, half a day of KG would be enough. Would whole day be harmful? I mean, there is no need for everybody to be put in whole day KG education. The fact remains that if they get along with the family members more, it certainly would be more positive in terms of the child development. There is a bit of trade-off there. Mr. Ray Chen, well, the government launches the LEVA, the low-income family allowance. There are some families who would rather stay at home and collect the benefits, and they may be accused of being lazy. And I think you have to think through the entire philosophy. The half a bowl of rice would be enough. They can survive on that. But are you telling the whole of Hong Kong that half a bowl would be the best? Right? My turn is next. Undersecretary. Now, it was mentioned that we should talk with the LWB. Now, for whole day and long whole day kindergartens, they come under our purview. It's just that for services beyond this, they will be under the purview of the LWB, but the whole day, long whole day education comes under our remit. I must emphasize once again that we would consider this in a holistic manner. We will have regard to the population policy and other requirements. I think you have to join the queue again. The long whole day services, will they come under your purview? Yes, indeed. All right, it's my turn next. Under Secretary, this is open to debate, but I agree that we should not get bogged down in a debate. From the education point of view, I respect your assertion that half-day KG would be enough for the children. Now, there is indeed a huge demand for whole-day KG or long whole-day KG, in particular those working parents, and from the point of view of releasing more manpower to the community. So I think the demand is actually higher than what you depicted. There are so many parents who would like to put their kids to in the whole day or long whole day instead of the 3-hour kindergartens, and it would be quite tough for them. They cannot afford the domestic helpers. Some would work half a day in order to look after their children. So the demand is actually larger than what you make it out to be. So I hope that when you consider the subsidies for whole day or long whole day KGs, you should refrain from using the argument that you advanced. You are saying that you are helping those needy families. I'm not sure whether you are merely considering the theory mission. There should be more angles. Now you said you mentioned the needy families in terms of those who are in financial difficulties. Now there are some households who really find it difficult to cope. Now you're encouraging childbirth. So can you give us the undertaking that when supporting the whole day and long whole day kindergartens, you might wish to elaborate your objectives for us? Under Secretary. Now, Madam Chair, let me talk a little bit more about the needs. Now, there are some families who otherwise would be able to afford, and they just leave their children with the whole day KG, thinking that would be better for the kids. Now we started from 4:30 today. Now we said that we would like to start off with the half-day KG. I must hammer home the message that half-day KG would be enough for the children. Now there may be some households where the parents are both working and nobody is able to look after the children, and there is a need for whole day or long whole day KGs for them. Now, the other category would be the resources. Now we have to consider whether we should be funding them with taxpayers' money. Now, like what we said last time, there may be the parents who are professionals themselves, and they are earning more than $100,000, $200,000 per month. They need the whole day KGs, but should we fund them using taxpayers' money? So we have two levels of consideration. First, whether there are places available. Second, whether they need to have government subsidies. So we need to use the resources in a way that we will be able to help those who are in need, instead of helping those who are merely in need of whole day KG places. Three for the second round, perhaps 3 minutes. Vice Chair. Madam Chair, I heard what the Undersecretary had to say. My impression is that the Bureau is going to fund or to subsidize the half-day kindergartens. There is no need for a whole-day kindergarten because of the needs, and they are offering a bit of subsidies there. Now, we basically are talking about diversity. I think this is really not a true statement. I think you better to reflect the situation more correctly, you should be saying that we need only the half-day kindergartens. The government should make the argument clearer. Now, you effectively say that half-day KG would be enough, and there is no need for whole-day KG, and the parents should not be aspiring for whole-day education, kindergarten education. Now, this argument is not really clearly reflected in this flimsy paper. If the government can analyze the situation in greater depth, then I think they should put forward another paper giving us the whole argument in great depth, and if they can advance the convincing argument, then I'm sure that we will be prepared to consider it in a rational manner. In the mainland of China, they have whole-day KG subsidy. Now, in this paper, this is a report from the U.S., they are talking about full-day kindergarten. The trend is that in the 1990s, in the 1970s, they had 20% of whole-day kindergarten, and then they moved on to 60%. What is the trend for Europe and the U.S.? The Undersecretary said or mentioned a number of jurisdictions. Can we have a fuller picture internationally? What is the trend? My understanding is that there is a greater and greater recognition of full-day kindergarten education. If we do not have a clear description of the situation, it would be difficult for us to agree that we should start with the half-day kindergarten. In terms of subsidy, we cannot buy or subscribe to the administration's argument. So I hope that there would be two sources of information. First, the function of full-day kindergarten, and second, the information regarding different jurisdictions in terms of full-day kindergarten education. I look forward to the information next time. Undersecretary. Madam Chair, I feel obligated to make the clarification that I never said that whole-day kindergarten education is superfluous. Well, that's what I read from what you said. Or I don't know how you read my argument like this. I've made it very clear that half-day KG, whole-day, long whole-day KGs, they are performing their functions. The three modes are recognized by the Education Bureau. We are considering how more whole-day and long whole-day places can be made available. Now, we talked about half-day KG because for the majority of the children, half-day KG would be sufficient. In terms of a child's development, not only do they need to have education in a group, the interaction with the family members, the day-to-day interaction would also be important with the family members. So half a day would be enough, but it doesn't mean to say that the whole day or long whole day KGs are superfluous. I said before, and I say again, that they are doing a marvelous job. That the Undersecretary referred to the US, and I talked about the UK, Australia, Singapore. I mentioned more jurisdictions than the Vice Chairman did, but from my scant knowledge, I may not be half as good as the Vice Chair in terms of the studying kindergarten. Now, between half-day and whole-day kindergartens, now which one is better? I think for a conclusion to be drawn, we do need more studies.
Or do we drop everything until the research and study are concluded before we go ahead with 15-year free education? I don't think that's the wish of the community at large. I think our current approach satisfies the demand of most people in Hong Kong. That is, we use half-day KG as the basis, but we take into account the needs for the whole day and long whole day KGs, and we provide resources to assist that. Now, I haven't been trying to compare which is better, whole day or half day KGs, but the Undersecretary seems to be saying that half day KGs are better than whole day and long whole day. So I am saying that he should provide the evidence. So that's why I said you should provide a document on that at the next meeting. Now, and you should talk about the roles. I will try to reiterate. I'm not trying to compare between the pros and cons for whole day, half day, and long whole day KGs. We are saying that the half day KGs already provide very valuable contribution to the development of children. Next, Dr. Fernando Cheung. The Undersecretary said very confidently that half-day KGs are enough, and the Vice Chairman is saying, please give us the evidence. Now, apart from looking at the children, now for some families, the choice between half-day, whole day, or long whole day KGs is not necessarily revolving around the development needs of the child. There are quite a number of families who are not able to make a sufficient livelihood. Now, if the schools services are unable to provide them with assistance so that they can go and work, then you are increasing the rich-poor gap. Now, we're talking about children between the ages of 3 and 6. Now, of course, not all children in that age group need to attend whole-day KGs. Now, you can take them in the afternoon to various playgroups or interest classes. They don't need to attend KGs for a whole day. Now, these are the families with the means, but for many grassroots mothers, they do not have the choice. They have difficult livelihood. Now, because the mothers cannot go to work, they live in subdivided units, just because they have to look after the children. So your scheme should take into account this social factor. And you say that educationally, half-day KG is enough. But for the families, this is a trap of, they fall into the poverty trap because of this. Now, we have gone over this many times. We think that half-day KGs are enough for the child from the educational perspective. On the matter of need, I also spoke on that. There are two levels of need. Some families really have the need. Now, as Mr. Cheung said, in some cases, both parents need to go out and work to maintain a basic livelihood. So there is genuine need there, and that's why in the committee is looking at ways, trying to find ways to provide more whole day and long whole day places in order to help these families, and they would provide more resources. And apart from providing the places, we also provide the financial assistance, so that the families don't have to put up a lot of their own money for the children to attend whole day KGs. Now, this is a matter that is being considered by the committee, and there is not a big distinction between our approach and Dr. Cheung's concern. Whole day and long whole day KGs have certain functions that merit more resources from the government. It's not a real distinction between us. Next, Dr. Kenneth Chen. I'd like to ask the Undersecretary. Now, within this chamber, there are a dozen or more Hong Kong citizens. Can you tell me how many of these families need whole day and long whole day KG service? Can you tell us, and by what means? Can you tell us? Now, you are talking about the families here. It seems that not many members here have children of KG age. I don't think the Undersecretary has misunderstood me. Now, the administration is saying that half-day KG is enough. From educational perspective, he's saying that in many cases there is no real need for whole-day KGs, and the government should not provide incentive for the parents to cast the children into whole-day KGs just because the service is available. But we are more in touch with the actual people in our society, and I'm sure the chairperson, the chair lady, can also tell you this, that in many cases both parents need to work, and they need also to take care of the parents of the parents. And you are saying we will provide resources, but if you are not poor enough, you don't get the aid. So you are attaching labels to certain segments of our society, and you should be very careful with that. So you can look around. How can this subcommittee now answer the question of how do you tell which families have the need? Now, you seem to be very benevolent, but you this is not very realistic. How many members are there going to speak? There are 2 members who wish to speak for the third round. Now, actually, this point has been discussed many times. Now, our scheduled ending time is 6:30. We can extend it a little bit, but please do not repeat your point. Madam Chair, I haven't repeated myself. Madam Chair, now on Dr. Chan's question, it's very difficult for me to tell you here how much need there is, but the market will be able to tell. We must provide incentive for the operators to provide the service when the operators detect the need. I'm not going to be able to tell you how many places are needed for half-day KGs, how many for whole-day KGs, how many for long whole-day KGs. Now, but when there is demand in society, the operators will change their mode of operation to provide the necessary places. Now, many operators operate in the mode that would enable them to meet the need. So we try to provide the flexibility so that they can make the adjustment. Now, I am saying that we don't just provide the need, the whole day. We don't try to provide a half-day basis funding so that they don't provide whole-day places. It's the other way around. When you talk about the market, you're talking about the people, like people in this room. So your conclusion is that when there is need, then you will provide the support. But how will you provide the support? You need to explain to the public. You say you will provide the funding for half-day KGs, but you don't know how you would provide the aid for the rest. This is what the committee will discuss carefully. It said that we shouldn't draw a line of who is needy, who is poor. Now, if both parents have high income, now they may have a need for the place, school place, but they don't have the need for funding. So in that case, the government shouldn't use public money to support them. Two more in the third round, 2 minutes each. Dr. Fernando Cheung. Now, on different modes of KGs, there is also a child care center for children with special educational needs, and there is another category of institutions also. So I don't know whether these can be covered today, or will we deal with SEN students and students with other needs, including ethnic minorities, whether we will deal with those later. Now, perhaps the Deputy Secretary can briefly respond. On SECC and ETC, now the Social Welfare Department has been taking care of that. In para 127 of the policy address this year, in part 2 of that paragraph, it says that there will be over 1,400 places and private, and there will be pilot schemes in this regard. And when this topic will be to be discussed in the future, we will invite the colleagues involved to come. Now, we have discussed with the official on this point, but he said there's nothing. He said that it's going to be discussed by the Lottery Fund and the Community Care Fund.
Yes, indeed, and this will be followed up. Vice Chair, 2 minutes, please. Madam Chair, I hope that the Bureau will advance their arguments in the form of a paper. If the paper is sufficiently convincing, then we don't have to carry on with any further discussion, and we can take a decision there. Now, as regards the needs, there is a Parents Alliance and an association on free KG education, and they conducted a survey. 90% of the parents would not accept a kind of subsidy that would exclude the whole day and long whole day KGs. It is very clear in terms of the length of time. Half day KG is only 3 hours. Whole day KG, a long whole day KG, it is 10 hours, 270 days versus 190 days between long whole day and half day KGs. For parents who are both working, they have different demands, and parents who have different educational philosophies will have different demands. So it's not a question of which one's better than the others. We like to have diversity. To use my analogy, Western cuisine or Chinese cuisine, they are just as good. They have different merits to offer. When they are given the choice, not all parents would go for whole day KGs. If they are financially well off, they would go for half-day KGs. Now, many would go for half-day KGs because of the reputation of the KG, the geographical location, and also the time they have on the hand to educate the kids. I don't think you should have the assumption that all parents would prefer the whole-day KGs. Undersecretary. Maybe it is running a little bit late. We're tired. I don't think I understand what specifically the Vice Chair is suggesting. Is he of the view that we should move down a particular direction? I don't think I'm with him, Vice Chair. My request is very specific. Now, for half-day, whole day, and long whole day KGs, what respective roles do they have? Give us an argument. Undersecretary, what has it got to do with the 15-year free education? Vice Chair, are you saying that if we find that whole day KG is better, then we should proceed down this path? Is it what you're saying? Vice Chair. Madam Chair, now we can be analyzing the respective roles of men and women, and we're not going to mandate all men to become women. Now, by giving us the analysis, we should have the situation clearer. And I hope that Undersecretary would digest what I have to say. You would understand. Well, I am making this request formally. I think we have had enough discussion. Members and members of the public hope that when implementing the 15-year free education, the different modes of KGs should be taken into account. And half-day, whole day, and long whole day KGs, there are indeed demands for the whole day and long whole day KG. The next meeting is scheduled for the 16th of March at 10:45. There are 2 items for discussion. The first one is rental assistance, the provision of school premises, and so on. The next one is the teacher-to-student ratio, the demand for the manpower, the career ladder, and also the resources and so on. I hope that there would be a paper to be made available by the administration so that we can have some discussion. We're not saying that we should complete our discussion in one single meeting. If necessary, we can make separate arrangements, but members should bear in mind there are so many issues that we have to get out of the way. So we go for these 2 items next time. How soon are we going to tackle the ethnic minorities and SEN? Well, these come under G. If we deal with 2, then we should have them on the agenda by the 4th meeting. So 2 meetings away. Rest assured, we will come to that, and this is something that a lot of members will be very concerned about. Okay, then thanks very much for coming.